In amongst all the action and the frantic points tension and the chase implications going on at Dover this weekend, in amongst all that, there was a guy who made the chase last year, just missed out this year, but solidly got his head down and got one of his best finishes of the year. So this week, I decided to take the spotlight away from the chase of the Sprint Cup contenders and shine it on the consistent, constantly smooth Cuban Missile. Yeah, it's on box. Yeah, that's about as much as you need to know about the box. There's no dents or scratches. And this thing got smashed to pieces. Zingy, that's a good word. Oh, excuse me. It's sloppy. I've seen paper customs on YouTube done better than this. Hello race fans, and welcome to Diecast Review Monday in association with Race Gear UK, who have once again supplied me with a fabulous new Lionel NASCAR diecast, which you can order right now from their website, including a nice 15% discount if you quote Team Motorsports with your order, because they're just the most awesome people around. And they are real supporters of the NASCAR scene in the UK. That's why we love them so much. And the car they've presented to us today is Aric Almirola's 2015 number 43 Smithfield Foods Ford Fusion for Richard Petty Motorsports. Now, Aric Almirola's a bit of a curious one, isn't he? He's one of those guys that no one really knows what to do with him. No one really hates him or anything like that, but he's not exactly... I don't exactly see the huge Aric Almirola fan club anywhere around. There's not exactly t-shirts being made in his honour everywhere. And I don't think he's winning the most popular driver anytime soon, which is a shame because I actually think he's a rather underrated little driver. He's been in this 43 car for a few seasons now, since 2012, after taking over from my favourite driver, Aric Almirola, who did a pretty good job in this car. And do you know what? He's been pretty solid. Richard Petty Motorsports aren't the force that they once were these days. I don't think they're as strong, but I think they're waiting for a turnaround at some point. I mean, I believe tomorrow they're announcing their manufacturer choice for next year. They're thinking of sticking with Ford. And judging by how nice this car looks on a Ford body shell, I can't blame them. But I was curious to see whether they would change manufacturers at some point, see if they can get better support as Furniture Row Racing are doing for next year. Because I do believe there is a little bit more potential in this team there, that they just need something to unlock. And Almirola and Ambrose were a fairly consistent midfield top 15-ish pairing, which did pretty well. I mean, Ambrose, you knew, would turn it on the road courses, but I think he also did very well at the short tracks and certain other tracks as well. And Aric Almirola is very much the same. I mean, I'm just looking at his average finishes in this year. He pretty much spent most of the mid-part this year in the top 15 in almost every single race. And he's both Dover races, including the one we've just had, 5th place at both of them, 4th place at Richmond when he was desperately trying to get into the chase, just about missed out on that one. And it would have almost been better this year, because last year he got that win at Daytona, his debut Sprint Cup victory, in a rain-shortened race, which everyone sort of dismisses as a fluke, which I don't think is entirely fair. But I think this year, had he managed to get in, it would have almost been even better than last year. He'd really scrapped his way in. But it's nice to see him still putting in good performances, even though he is out of chase contention. He's put in a 10th at Chicagoland, last at New Hampshire. That was a problem. I think it was a tyre problem he had. And then a 5th at Dover, and he was right there. He was basically the watching brief on the battle between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jamie McMurray for the final chase transfer spot. So he had the best view in the house of it all. He must have been loving being involved in all that. And his car is very solid. I believe he's still in this car for a long time. So I like him. I like the fact he's a very smooth driver. He's a very good driver. He's a good ambassador for the brand. And this is his car. This is his main car. Obviously, the most iconic 43 car he regularly drives is the STP car, the old Richard Petty colours. And STP is on this car there. You can just see right on the corner there. There's the US Air Force logo as well. Some more logos on it as well. But there's this American slight stars and stripes theme to it as well. And then the Richard Petty Motorsport style bring down there. And I have to say, I mean, speaking of teammates, Marcus Ambrose leaving last year, he's done a hell of a lot better than Sam Hornish Jr. this year, which has been mystifying for me. I've no idea why Sam has just tanked so badly at that team, but I feel like Aric's pace is much more a representation of Richard Petty Motorsports' form, and there's a lot of talk that maybe Justin Allgaeir, who may well be losing his ride at H. Scott for Clint Boyer, may well be moving to the number 9 next year. That'll be very interesting. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Silly season is really starting to click into gear, and in NASCAR it is often particularly silly. Only beaten out by Formula 1 in that respect. Same on this side. You can see the white, the iconic 43, which is red on the top and a slightly different font. I don't normally look at the top of cars, but you can see it there. It's slightly narrower. The text is slightly narrower, and it's red. Well, obviously you can see that. Statement of the obvious there, Adam. And around on the front, Ford Fusion front end. It just looks so good, doesn't it? It looks great. And they are really nailing it this year. They've got it down pat. Lionel probably had the Fords down the best first, and it was the Chevrolets and particularly the Toyotas that had the most issues with gormless looking front ends. There's the Smithfield logos on it. Helping Hungry Homes. Nice bit of alliteration there, which is also making me remind me that I probably should have some lunch after I finished editing this video. Made in the USA. Yeah, that's cool. Hence all the Stars and Stripes things around there as well. They also sponsored Connor Daly this year at the Indy 500. Did Smithfield Foods. Such a shame Daly's 500 didn't really go anywhere, but he's still a very talented driver that I ask you to look out for in the future. So we spin it back round. And it's a very solid looking car from Lionel, as most of them have been this year. There's really not been that many duds this year. Generally, I mean, if you've got this car, let me know what you think of it. I quite like it. As I say, it's kind of fighting a losing battle is Smithfield, because everyone would rather see the Petty Blue 43 carrying the red STP colours as well, and it always looks the best in those colours, so everyone would rather see that. But to be honest, if this is the primary scheme it has, it's a good one. It's a good way of using the old Smithfield Foods colours, and I look forward to seeing Almirola doing the business and doing a bit better. I'd like to see him get a real kind of top caliber teammate, or maybe someone like Justin Allgaeir, a kind of younger talent that would help drive him along. I think this team is, you know, one good kind of breakout season away from getting back to the front again. And in 2010, it looked like they might have been on the verge of doing that. No, not 2010, sorry, 2011. They might have been able to do that with Marcus Ambrose and AJ Allmendinger in the team. That was a good pairing. Ambrose and Almirola have been steady and consistent. Almirola and Hornish, well, steady for Almirola, pretty terrible for Hornish, to be honest. But next year it'll be interesting to see if Hornish sticks around, and it'll be interesting to see if Almirola can get it, can make it. Well, I say third time lucky. He did make the chase last year, but as I say, he was eliminated in the first round and didn't really have the kind of consistent form to stick at it. But this year he's been far, I think, a bit better overall, and just about missed out, which was a little bit of a shame. But I look forward to seeing the Cuban Missile continue to represent the 43 Petty Blue colours with pride and good strong runs. And I think there's a good breakout season in Almirola in him somewhere down the line. Whether it be next year, we'll just have to wait and see. And we'll have to wait and see who his teammate will be. Let me know in the comments who you'd like to see riding along as Almirola's teammate next year, whether it should be Hornish, Allgaeir, or anyone else. There's a lot of names in that particular hat. For now, this has been my diecast review of Aric Almirola's number 43 Smithfield Foods Richard Petty Motorsports Ford Fusion, the 2015 car, fresh off of 2 5th place finishes at Dover and a 4th at Richmond. The Cuban Missile building a little bit of momentum, and when this missile explodes, it's going to catch the whole of Sprint Car by storm. I'll see you on Wednesday, Bombers.